Today we're heading to the very northern tip of Minnesota to a park I was going to skip just simply because the vast majority of this park is accessible only by water. Hundreds of miles of shoreline, tons of little islands dotted all throughout Voyaguers National Park, mostly accessible by boat. I'm like, maybe I'll just hit that one when I have access to a boat or more time to hit it. But it was really only about an hour out of my way. And I said, let's just go ahead and hit it anyway, because I did a little bit of research and found that there are a ton of hiking trails just even on the mainland part and a lot of beautiful scenes and sights. And so I said, let's go for it. And boy, am I glad I did. This was one of the best parks that I have visited in a while. And just the ability to get out there and just see some of the things and some of the sights. And I just don't want to spoil anything here with spoilers. So let's just go ahead and get right on in. Well, today we are at Voyaguers National Park. Now, this one, I almost skipped this one just because most of the park is kind of accessible by boat and tons of backcountry camping up there. There is enough to do on this end here. There's a good days worth of hikes that you can drive to, so I'm going to hit a bunch of those. We're in the Ash River Visitor Center area now. There's a bunch of really nice hikes, and then I'm going to drive all the way around by International Falls and hit the other visitor center on the other end of the park for another hike over there later on. But let's see what this place has to offer on the land side of things. The first hike of the day is going to be the Blind Ash Trail, starting from the Visitor Center. And we're going to hike out this way. It's about a 3-mile round trip. There's a 1-mile loop, or a 1-mile straight, a 0.7 loop, and then just a little bit back to the parking lot again. So this is going to overlook some of the lake, and we're actually going up in elevation right now. So we'll see what this guy looks like. I have indeed reached the pinnacle of this particular hike. This is the furthest point out. From here, we start wrapping back around. This is an amazing hike. It is not accessible, and I would call it probably moderate. I've been on way more strenuous, like the one in Maine where we climbed up the mountain to Mount Betty. That was a little bit more strenuous, but this has a lot of roots and rocks and different terrain. But the scenery out here overlooking the lake is incredible. Definitely worth doing this hike. It's going to be, I don't know, maybe about an hour and a half total. Maybe a little bit less. Who knows? I walk fast. But it's just beautiful out here. There's some folks, of course, I hear a boat down there. Other than that, it'd be very peaceful and nothing else out here. So, gorgeous place. So here we are. We're kind of looking out towards Canada. That's not quite Canada on the other end. This is all part of the national park, and there's pretty much no services once you pass into this landmass, where there's just dotted of tons and tons of these little islands which are completely desolate. I mean, there is nothing on those guys. And you can just take your boats out and find an island and hang out. There's backcountry camping available pretty much everywhere. You need a permit for that. And overall, though, I mean, this is gorgeous. Times like this make me wish I had boats, kayaks, or something. Seems like a nice and safe lake, even to kayak on and things. But I'll tell you, I'm enjoying the land hikes too. This is beautiful. But I got to come back here with a boat sometime. So if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, but around in these parts, wild rice actually grows in abundance. And I do believe this is wild rice. There's actually recipes for cooking with wild rice up at the visitor center. And there's actually a whole lake just about maybe 20-30 miles south of here called Rice Lake, that the whole lake is only 5 feet deep at its greatest depth, and people from around the area come out and actually harvest the wild rice that naturally grows there. So I believe that's what this is here, and just the type of lake shore this is, the moisture, everything indicates that that's probably what it is. Again, it's not a plant I've personally seen and ate and tasted, but based on my knowledge of what rice looks like, this is it. So this is just a little spot down off that path, and it's just beautiful out here. It's so peaceful. Bring your boats out here, guys. Bring your boats. I almost didn't come to this national park just because I didn't have a boat, but I'm like, it's only an hour out of my way. Let's just go ahead and do it. So we got this one off the list, but we'll come back again sometime else. Go camping on the back shores.
After leaving the area directly next to the Ash River Visitor Center, I drove back towards the main road, and I wanted to hit Sullivan Bay and Beaver Pond. So Sullivan Bay is just a nice walk through a standard forest. It doesn't look amazingly special until you get out to the very end, and there's a picnic area out on a bay overlooking the lake, and it is absolutely beautiful. So we'll go ahead and have a look over there, and then we'll look at Beaver's Pond before we make the drive over to the other half of the park that I'm going to visit today. I'm out here on the edge of Solomon's Bay and the Solomon Bay Trail, which I think is a snowshoe trail. There's actually a snowshoe marker up here. And this one's, it's a very flat, very level, 0.7 mile trail out. It's mostly just a walk in the woods, nothing super spectacular until you get out here, and then you are greeted with this lake, which is amazing. In fact, there was no noise at all until that speedboat just came by. And I'm actually sitting on a rock, and there's a picnic table and a fireplace up behind me. So this might actually be one of those front country campgrounds. So this park has a ton of campgrounds, like more campgrounds dotted all over this park than anything. It's just most of them are out there beyond the water, and there's no roads that go out there. You can hike out there through woods. I don't know if there's trails or not, but there's a few front country campgrounds which are all connected to the road system, but then everything else you need to get in a boat and go across the lakes. And there's just dotted with islands and remoteness and wilderness and nothing. There's nothing out there except hiking and campgrounds. Totally an awesome place.
I finished my day in the park at the Rainy Lake Visitor Center area, where the beautiful, pristine, perfectly pure water led its way to leech-infested muddiness. And still very beautiful, but just beautiful in a different way. On this side, I did a couple of the different nature hikes out here and got a chance to hang out on the beach shore for a little bit. And, of course, let's look at some of those leeches.
All right now. It's all fat. That thing is long.
It's a leech.
It's a leech. Leeches! Gross.
Oh, there's one.
Yep, there's another one
There's a
coming.
third one right there.
Yeah, I see that one.
The best part of this park was staying around this spot until the very evening, because there was a very high chance of finding northern lights tonight. And boy, were they good ones. So I got a little bit of work done, cooked up some dinner, and then I actually pulled out my retro video game system, sat on a rock over there on a point overlooking the north, and got out the camera to test out my night photography skills with Bora Auroralis. So sit back for the rest of the video and enjoy some scenes of the northern lights. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.